So they're using the bathroom for torture. As I was going in here, the two white females came and they were blocking my way. And one dipped her hand into her breast, and it was like it was sexually stimulating, and it was just harassing me. I was trying to bump into me. There was a whole bunch of whites sitting here. As soon as I was about to come into the bathroom, the two white females, suddenly changed routes and was trying to stampede me. They try to bump into me while sexually stimulating themselves. They always try to cause a stampede on me while sexually for like sexual excitement. Even on my way here, I coughed on the train, and some white female were laughing, and they came into the train after I got on train. So they had like the Me Too stalking me, and also, the camera would pick it up. As soon as I went in there, before I could get in, also the janitor people went in, I went and stood beside the stick. They always terrorize me with a stick, and then they'll call the police on me. They said in England, they used to call gays fags because they used to beat them with a stick. So they use all kinds of symbols, to harass me with, and they'll lock up the extra bathrooms, and then their gang will come and create a stampede, and then they'll call the police on me that there's a long line, I can't use the bathroom anymore. Even though there's extra space, extra bathroom stalls, they'll go and lock the extra bathroom stalls up. So this is aggravated harassment. They said Abdul woman was sodomized by the police, whereby they followed him to the bathroom, and the NYPD sodomized me with a stick. So they do this to me every time, try to get me choked there. There's a black American transsexual that comes in there to say he doesn't want me to use the bathroom, so the bathroom's only for women. So they say that gangs always try to appease their police by torturing poor people, whether in the prison, whether outside, because they know their police and their government don't care about the rights of the homeless. So their gangs, some of them sell fentanyl, and they don't want the police to raid them. So they try to win leverage on the police by or try to entice the police, by administering torture, by trying to help the police to kill activists like me, so that in return it's like a quid pro quo. In return, the police would let them continue selling the fentanyl. So and this is what they've been investigating this Eric Adam for. That is the government offering him a quid pro quo to terrorize, immigrants like me. I'm a homeless immigrant. In return for him, his criminal case get thrown out. And to really prove this quid pro quo, when Eric Adam was the borough president, I used to go charge my phone in Brooklyn in front of a Turkish restaurant, and the Turkish restaurant would call the police on me, would threaten me with hot water, say, "We don't want you to anybody get out of here," and around that time also the police choked me in Brooklyn, and they used to torture me everywhere. But they said this Adam is close to the Arigona family, and Arigona was trying to help me in my court papers, and the police went and choked him dead. This is also part of the police work. So after they killed Arigona, I was noticing attempt to get me killed in Brooklyn. They will send their gang to tell me if you show up in Brooklyn, you're going to get fucked up. And I didn't really know that this gang, they were powerful. So I kept showing up in Brooklyn and they would harass me. I used to go in front of Eric Adams' office. It was the borough president back then after the kid Eric Garner. It was the borough president of Brooklyn. So I used to go to Court Street. That was the only area I knew. That was where the courthouse is, where I filed a lawsuit. The Eric Garner was helping with the court papers against the police. The police took my home on Staten Island around that time. And so that was the only area of Brooklyn I knew. So I used to go to the Court Street train station. There's a bathroom there for customers. And anytime I try to use the bathroom, the police will come and drive me out. The gangs will attack me in the bathroom. They finally closed up that bathroom only for MTA workers now. It used to be for members of the public to use. And I would go across the street, and that used to be Eric Adams' office. He was the borough president. And I said, please stop the torture of foreigners like me. I would say in Ohio, in Nigeria, became a mayor in a town in Ohio. And I would say in Iowa, they're allowing undocumented immigrants to have driver's license. I said, New York needs to stop touching immigrants. So just soon after that, this Eric Adams told the press, made a public speech, and was saying, "You go back to Ohio, you go back to Iowa. New York is for real New Yorkers. We're tired of all you that try to change our speech." And back then, the people used to taunt me, and they put in the bathroom, Dyson poser, you know, because they will mock me that I speak with a fake American English or whatever that. So that I have a foreign accent when I speak English. So and they thought that was an excuse to harm me and make me look like I deserve every torture. So that was just a ruse. I believe they were just using that to cover up their jealousy because Eric Garner was trying to help him my court papers against the police. The police went and choked him dead and they felt I could win a lot of money. I see this Eric Adams was close to the Eric Garner family. It's close to the Eric Garner family. So I was just being tortured everywhere, you know. And recently, I put in court papers that they shouldn't throw out this case in federal court in Manhattan. And soon they said Eddie Sarukadam went to attend the hearing, and he came out with his hand in his pocket. They took a picture of him with his hand in his pocket, and the female police, was on his side. And since then, they've been trying to get the police to come and arrest him because this is the women's bathroom, and normally a female police will respond to the women's bathroom. So like, he had his hand in his pocket, and a female police by his side. So like it was threatening me, like you know, anything can happen to me in his bags of tricks. So since then, they say a gang, like a black American gang, they send a transsexual to come to the bathroom with him. And this transsexual is a black American transsexual. Said he will say women first. He doesn't want to see other transsexual in the bathroom, only women. And I don't even think this transsexual is homeless. It's just they're bringing this transsexual there to cause a rules and get me killed. Even the city secretary also said some Negroes want him to go to prison, and he said, "Are you stupid?" He said, was using the word Negro. So not only is it threatening me with the word Negro, the Nigeria used to be called, and they said Nigeria was formed from the name nigger, and I used to go online and post that message that Nigeria was formed from the name nigger. So I've been under the federal surveillance since I was in immigration prison in 2000. So they say he also has snitches. He has snitches, in the FBI that always tell him when somebody else is under surveillance, you know. So they've been put me under surveillance since I went to immigration prison in 2000, you know. So I guess you're able to read all my posts online. So I guess that was why he was sending out a threat that I would understand a particularized threat saying Negro, some Negro wants him to go to prison and say you stupid, and so they're trying to get me killed in the bathroom and set up a fight because the police posted is next door, and they said this Adam paid money to the executives here, give them like $1 million raise each, exponentially increase their paycheck. So they say in the past in this country they have a coastline mafia that always used to extort and harass people, and they have a federal law against that, coastline mafiaism. So I believe this is borderline coastline mafiaism. But under this Trump administration, they are not helping civil rights efforts, and they're not really helping with investigating federal crimes. So I believe this federal crime feels you can get away with it. So this is a serious threat I'm facing to my life since they've been making plans to since Trump's Justice Department says they want this Eric Adam to walk free. And I'm opposing it in court. I sent an email to the judge again. I sent an email to the judge, and the judge, is still has deferred the decision and said the judge also hired an expert lawyer to analyze the situation, and the expert lawyer also said they concur with the government's position that the case should be dismissed. But I suffered harm when Eric Adam was threatening me while he was borough president. Was saying no more barbecue. I used to ride the Q train a lot, and I used to go use the bathroom at Prospect Park train station bathrooms. And on the day I got choked, they put a gang member in the bathroom to terrorize me, and I was recording that person terrorizing me in the bathroom. And I told that person I was going to get them arrested, post the video online. If I could post the video online that day when I went to Prospect Park, when I went to Berry Avenue and Fourth Avenue at night time, they sent another person to be sexually molesting me, rubbing his hand on my body, on my head, while the police camera was recording, just to get me angry. They always try to sexually molest me to get me angry and find whatever I hate to get me angry. You know, July 20th, 2019, after I was attacked at the Q line bathroom by their thug, so in early in the morning, I used the bathroom at the Q line station bathroom for customers, the women's bathroom. And later in the day, I would go to Berry Avenue and Fourth Avenue. People give me money. I sit there on my chair, So there's a police camera that records me. So they came there to attack me, send the guy to the robbery. It looked like it might be Turkish also. Because I didn't understand why this Erdogan was the borough president. A lot of Turkish connected people were attacking me. This Erdogan guy Adams was criticizing me. And I didn't really know him personally, but he will make comments, like go back to Ohio, go back to Ohio. After I make comments, you also make comments publicly. You really claim whatever comments I make. I used to make comment that in Iowa, they're allowing undocumented immigrants to get driver's license. And I say in Ohio, and Nigeria became a mayor. And soon after that, this I gotta make a statement. Say, you go back to Iowa, you go back to Ohio. We're tired of all you that come here from other places and try to change the way our speech in New York. New York is for real New Yorkers. So you like you'll be throwing shots at me, and it took me a long time to find out, because I didn't really know who he was. But the newspaper started focusing on the media started focusing on all his statements. And soon after that, he was criticizing the media that they're exposing him too much, and it's because he's black. And he said he even roughed up a Daily News reporter. His police roughed up a Daily News reporter because and it's just been so much that as soon as he became mayor, also he started asking the police to be raiding us homeless at night, and it's like they always terrorize me at night. So they have all kinds of gangs out there that sees I'm very, very vulnerable. I criticize the Me Too, so the Me Too is also joining in, to try to make it easy for the police to kill me. So they said under federal law, a conspiracy, to prove a conspiracy, you don't have to show each gang know each other or they're all in, they're all friends, but the fact that they all have the same goal. So this Me Too, I criticize them a lot also because their lawyer already refused to help me when the police took my home and sexually harassed me in 2010. Years later, I reached out to Gloria Harvard, said I told her that this is the lawyer for the Me Too. I told her that the police sexually harassed me, and Eric Garner was trying to help me with the court papers while I was suing the police, and the police was not taking me. And she told me she can't take my case because she needs the police to arrest Weinstein and R. Kelly, and if she takes my case, the police will drop the case and not arrest them. So that's like a quid pro quo. That's like bribing the police to arrest people, which is against the law. So this Me Too, they're trying to silence me, and they see this Eric Adam also is trying to silence me. So they have white women try to jump me, black Americans try to jump me. They say this Eric Adams also part of a black gang. He used to go to prison. He was in prison as a child for for trying to extort money from a prostitute. He was also a pimp. So it's a mess. And I've already emailed the judge that I matter because I don't think there's any victim because the charges the Biden administration filed against Eric Adams is crimes against the United States. They are not alleging people like me exist. I'm not a United States government. I'm just an individual victim of their racketeering. So the government needs to know they don't have the power to unilaterally dismiss the case when I, as a victim, I exist, and they say they want the case dismissed without prejudice. With prejudice, they said it's a requirement, so it won't be brought back. So it's very suspicious that even though the Trump administration wanted to be dismissed with prejudice, this regard as far as the law that he wants the case to be finally to be disposed of forever and ever. So, could it be his consciousness of guilt made him hire a lawyer to get the case dismissed with prejudice? Because I as a victim I exist, and one day I could find my feet and try to bring charges against him. That him and the Turkish government got me tortured and most likely may have been involved in the police arresting me in July 23rd, 2019 and dropping me in the cycle. It was a whole bunch of them that was trying to get me arrested by police and possibly killed. So this has been investigated and they did not relent on their efforts. So right here is the new torture zone ever since Eric Adams walked out of the courthouse in Manhattan a few weeks ago or days ago with his hand in his pocket and the female police behind him. And they used their female police to terrorize me. There was a time, they used to attack me at Washington Market Park. The black American workers there would call the police on me. And the female police came, the black American, and was telling me to sit down, be quiet. I was saying they were spraying me with water. The park worker was spraying me with water. And she's like, you look crazy. That's no reason to be angry because the park worker was spraying water in the bathroom. I said, I'm going to call psychiatric for you. So they use all kinds of intimidation. And this I regard to make me remember that he controls the police force. After I said he shouldn't dismiss his case, he came out of court in that federal case with the female police beside him and his hand in his pocket. With his hand in his pocket. And I understood that photo to mean I should be on the watch out because anything can come from his bag of dirty tricks. So they try to find a trick to get me killed in the bathroom. I'm a homeless foreigner, and I'm an African. And I see some black Americans don't like Africans because Africans sold them to slavery. I criticize Sheryl Adams a lot. He's the mayor. He's the black American mayor, and they always attack me in the bathroom. So this aggravated heat. As I was going to the bathroom, a woman was putting her hand on in her chest, like she was sexually stimulating herself, and she was trying to bump into me. So the camera would pick it up. So they're sexually harassing me as I was going to the bathroom. A woman was putting her hand in her chest, like she was sexually stimulating herself, and she tried to walk into me. And when I go into the bathroom, they harass me also. So I'm an African. I criticize the government here, and they send all kinds of people, all kinds of groups to sexually molest me, on camera, and so and they believe I can be deported and killed, that my foreign life wouldn't matter. So I don't want that case dismissed in federal court because when Eric Adams was the borough president of Brooklyn, it was, I was being attacked by Turkish agents, and I guess they were just doing that to bribe Eric Adams to let him know, they're on his side. Because this Eric Adams is close to Eric Garner, yeah, and Eric Garner was trying to help me as a foreigner against the police. The police was not taking that. So I believe that they're just trying to kill me because Eric Garner was killed. And so they need to investigate this for torture and abuse of an immigrant. So this case shouldn't be dismissed. This is corruption, and I'm a living witness to the Turkish government bribing this Eric Adam. And one of the ways they used to bribe him was to be using Turkish agents to try to get the police to kill me. I used to go charge my phone in front of a Turkish restaurant on between 36th Street and 25th Street on 4th Avenue. And this Turkish guy will come at the restaurant, try to throw out water at me, call the police on me, so I don't want you in the neighborhood. Around 2020, 2019, and soon around that time also the police arrested me, put their nail on my neck, put me in the psych ward. So my mother has been killed. This was even before all this started. And I've been trying in 2015. My mother's daughters lied on my mother that she was crazy and killed her. And I can't get justice for my mother. She was killed in Bellevue Hospital. My friend Eric Garner has been killed. So I'm a homeless transsexual immigrant and I'm getting tortured. So please, the federal court, don't dismiss this case. There's more than missed the eye. The United States filed a case against Eric Adam, claiming only the United States was affected. No, there's many of us victims. They said the Turkish government, you know, also bribed Eric Adams to approve a building that was a fire hazard. I don't know if the tenants in that building, they said the Turkish government built an apartment building here in Manhattan and bribed Eric Adams to approve a building. So he has put life in risk. So this case is not just against the United States government. It's not just Eric Adams is not just a possible foreign agent being bribed to give the Turkish government access to U.S. politics. There are victims like me. There are Turkish agents that played a role in harassing me, and I believe they are linked to the way the police arrested me and choked me in 2019 and went and put me in the cycle for 7 days. I have the video on YouTube. So this case shouldn't be dismissed, and this Eric Adams outside of court while he's seeking, while he's trying to feign innocence outside of court, is conducting torture with his gangs, you know. So one of the gangs came, she was putting her hand on her breast, like she was sexually stimulating herself, and she tried to barged into me like she was a Sri Lankan tiger rebel. The Sri Lankan are known to terrorize people by strapping a bomb on themselves and walking into the crowd and blowing up the crowd. And she was sexually stimulating herself and she was walking towards me like she was trying to bump into me while touching her breast. So this is sexual harassment. The police camera picked it up, and this case shouldn't be dismissed because this is gang activity, and in a transportation facility, when you terrorize somebody under federal law, it's life sentence. So there should be possible more charges filed. This Eric, this Trump administration is acquiescing to people breaking the law if they can help them get rid of activists like me. And I've also reached out to the Canadian Prime Minister to help me with money online. And since I've been getting followed by these muscular people, I don't know if they're trying to kidnap me and remove me from America to appease Trump. I know Canada is a friend of the U.S. They're part of the NATO. So and they notice Trump is trying to remove people like me because I criticize him a lot. So I've been noticing, European agents follow me around. I went to the bank last week to check a shopping place, and the workers there were delaying me. Said they couldn't scan my ID. The scanner doesn't work, and the guy said he's from England, and he wants to send money to himself. It looked like it might be a British agent because it was just so weird. He said he wants to send money to himself. He's from England. And they took his ID and scanned it. While the workers were menacing me, said they couldn't scan my ID, their machine is not working. You know, so they tried to lure me with their British agent, their Canadian agent. So they said America is part of the NATO agreement with Britain and England, and they all joined together in torturing somebody. So I don't know if they're trying to lure me out of the US. They said there was a Nigerian guy who was a British citizen and they took them, lured him out of the UK and got him arrested in Nigeria for speaking bad about the Nigerian government. I speak bad about the Nigerian government also as a transsexual. So I don't know if they're all in collusion. And also, my mother was killed by her daughters. My mother was saying our daughters were talking to people in Nigeria that were a bad gang. And she said soon after that, our daughters, Bologna and Flora, were making an attempt to kill my mother. And I reached out to the Nigerian government and they wouldn't help me. My mother sent a car to Nigeria in the 1970s and she said they stole that car. You know, and the Nigerian government agents were saying a young girl like her shouldn't be riding a big car in Nigeria. The big cars are for big men. And she bought that car here in America in 1970s. So as a result, my mother used to tell me that you know, I wasn't able to really that she had to be walking around with me as a child in Nigeria because she didn't have a car. She thought I had bad luck that, you know, I was one of the few kids, I was the only kid she would have that didn't really grow up with a car, because the Nigerian government had stolen that car. She said she bought a Jeep, then like an SUV, it was like, so everybody in Brooklyn liked it. So it was a very expensive SUV. She bought it for a lot of money. And she shipped it to Nigeria in 1970s. And the Nigerian government agent stole it from her. So there's been a attempt to torture me. They said the Canadian government was also found to help the US government to torture a Canadian at Guantanamo Bay prison. And that Canadian ended up suing for $200 million and he won. So they said the British and other NATO members always join with U.S. government to torture people, especially foreigners. So my life is at risk. I'm being followed by British agents, Canadian agents, and this is just bizarre. So I believe the thing that an African can be kidnapped and trafficked away just to make this Trump comfortable. And he also has been doing immigration raids. I was trying to apply for student loan. They said they blocked it that because I owe student loan. Anything I try to do is blocking it. My tax refund. They're supposed to give me my stimulus check since 2001, 2021 for COVID. They said they refused to give it to me, even though they said they're going to automatically mail it in January to everyone that hasn't got their 2021 stimulus check. They owe me up to $3,000 for 2020 and 2021 stimulus check. They said they were going to mail the check out to everybody. I didn't get it automatically. I didn't get it. I've been calling them and they told me, that my case is stuck and I have to, you know, they said, I have to follow a special procedure that they're not going to mail it to me automatically, even though they claim they're going to mail it to everybody automatically. Said, I have to go to their office with my updated ID. And they stole all my ID. I don't have an updated ID. You know. So they just torturing me and denying me, seizing my money. They said even this Trump seized money that was supposed to come to New York. And said, they said this Trump administration was seizing the money because they said New York was still helping immigrants, to commit crime. They said the Trump administration based the seizure of the federal funds in New York, said there was a Venezuelan gang attacking people in the shelter. So as a result, they had to seize all the money coming to New York. Which, there are gangs everywhere, the black American gangs, it doesn't mean, they can seize money, meant for helping poor people because of, there are gangs from other countries in New York. There are always gangs in New York from different countries. So they're just trying to this Trump administration is trying to promote xenophobia, and their gangs like Me Too gangs and stuff that have beef with me because I've been trying to get their lawyer arrested. They're joining in, and they all they form a procession, they form and follow me everywhere, and try to sexually attack me. If a guy lured me to his house after the MTA lock up all the bathrooms in 2020, I couldn't find a bathroom to use, so the guy took me to his house and raped me I said he wanted to get married right away, and I thought it was just a scam. It was just into scam marriage because I'm trying to sue the government for killing my mother in the Bellevue hospital after my mother's daughter's blood and for lied on her that she was crazy. Even though my mother passed the mental test, and the hospital still tried to lock her up in the mental ward, even though my mother has a heart problem and has high blood pressure. So they framed my mother up and killed her in Bellevue hospital. And also the immigration arrested me wrongfully in 2020. So I've been trying to sue the U.S. government. So so I felt the guy that took me to his house and proposed marriage to me right away was just trying to engage in marriage scam. I told him no, I'm not looking for marriage. And he raped me and beat me and kicked me out. I called the police when I arrested him. So I don't know if he works for the Me Too Wars. So I've been expressing all kinds of weird stuff whereby they bring violence against me and they try to get me engaged in violence. And then the police won't help me. The police would escalate the violence I've experienced. And presently, there's a gang that brings the Black American transaction. So many in the bathroom. They say many Black Americans have been killed that way when they're involved in any altercation and the police comes in there and shoots them dead. And also, there's this radio show called on 1051 called Breakfast Club. So they're based here in the community. They're based on Canal Street. So I've reached out to them to help me, but they never help me. But they make comments on that show like they are aware of what I'm going through. So recently, a Black American transsexual came to attack me in the bathroom. Like she was trying to get the police to arrest me. She doesn't want to see transsexuals in the women's bathroom, and she appeared to be a transsexual herself. So they just try to create the rules, and I guess they've already plan their escape plan to claim mental illness. Because why would you be a transsexual and come to and attack an African transsexual in the bathroom so you don't want to see other transsexuals in the bathroom, you only want to see women? You know? So I guess they want to use that Black American transsexual to start a fight with me so the police can come and kill me and then they can blame it on the mental health and call it an accidental killing. So there's this guy on the Breakfast Club, I think his name is Charlemagne, and he opened up the show the next day after I got attacked in the bathroom and was like, it was like say use that in Nando. He said, "Stop moving, stop moving." That's like opened the show promo up. Like somebody was about to shoot a taser. So I don't know if that was sending a message out there, to me or whatever that my life is in danger. But I see, the police use the taser to kill people a lot, and they will call it an accidental discharge, and they will lie on you that you were violent fighting with everybody in the bathroom. So ever since this, I put in opposition papers against Eric Adams that they shouldn't allow him and Trump to dismiss the case against him in federal court. And I couldn't really state everything that I'm also a victim of this Turkish collusion with col- collusion with Eric Adams. That they will send his Turkish agents to attack people like me. And I guess he just wanted me killed because Eric Adam may be mad at me because his family friend, Eric Garner, was killed while he was trying to help me with my court papers against the police. They don't want to really prove that case in court. They don't want me to testify, and they just give Eric Garner family money. And since then, it became mayor, and they've been terrorizing all over this city with the police. Black Americans will beat me up, and the police will not arrest them. And they'll throw fame mental illness on me. You know? So they're abusing me, using Black American gangs and other gangs abuse me, and because they have the power to do that with this, ever since my friend Eric Garner was killed, and I'm seeing foreign agents since I reached out to the Canadian Prime Minister on this YouTube to beg for money. I'm not trying to get deported from America. America is the crime scene where my mother was killed, where Eric Garner was killed, and I want to get justice here in America. I'm a permanent resident. I'm not trying to go to any other country. Even my mother told me she'll reach out to family members while she was alive, telling them we were homeless and none of them wanted to help us. Some of them are based in England, and also she's very suspicious of her daughter in Nigeria. Said her daughter was also Funke. She was being friends with people in Nigeria that wanted to kill me and my mother. Me and my mother testified in immigration court in 2001. So my mother said that's why she didn't file a green card for that Funke. So she said when I was a child also, that Funke wanted to throw me out of the house, out of the window. Said she was very jealous because my mother married another person to give birth to me, and she said, she was out of control, and she had to call the police to arrest her. But the father's family of this Funke, she has a different father from me, was very powerful in Nigeria, so they got the criminal case dropped. So this Funke trying to kill me when I was a child, when I was a little bit, so was trying to throw me out of the window in jealous rage. that she didn't want my mother to have another child. So when I was born, so after I was born, this funky tried to throw me out of the window. When my mother was in Nigeria, in the 80s, and she said my mother went on top criminal charge against this funky, got arrested. But our own father's family is very powerful. They're part of the Nigerian government, so they got the case dismissed. You know, so I've never had any rights. As a Nigerian transsexual in Nigeria and America, and so the government has to help me this time around. I mean, the court, the federal court, don't dismiss this case against Eric Adams, because poor people should have rights. The Constitution we should have access to court. The lawyers here in America don't help me, and and I'm being groomed for killing by the Me Too and the Black American gang. So they try to set up the rules like Abdul Wimmer, the way he was tortured and sodomized. The, any 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 negative news, they try to reenact it on me. So it's like they're studying all the ways people have been harmed in America, and they're mutual and the Black American gangs like this, for Eric Adams and his police department try to reenact it on me, like a free torture experiment, like a free, And they said this Eric Adams used to frequent a club called Zero Bond in Manhattan, and there's this guy on ABC radio, and would say if anybody wants to meet with Eric Adams to do any shady deal, they should go and hang out there in front of the club. Eric Adam would be willing to do a shitty deal with it. And I'm like, I'm not into any shitty deal. I just want justice. You know, so I never, I don't chase people. And so this has to be investigated. So the federal courts in Manhattan don't drop the case. I'm a homeless foreigner. I'm an activist. My mother was killed in Manhattan. My friend Eric Garner was killed in Australia. And I have evidence. I was also under federal surveillance. At the time, my mother's daughters feigned mental illness, or my mother had killed her. So my mother was saying her daughters was trying to kill her, Bali and Flora, including the one in Nigeria. And they all buried my mother on June 12th. You don't bury Nigeria on June 12th, because June 12th is the day the Nigerian military annulled an election against somebody from the south, like my mother. So there's always riots on June 12th in Nigeria, saying the northern people that control the Nigerian politics were abusing people from the south for like my mother. So my mother was saying that our daughters were trying to kill her early to blame it on the city of New York. And they did kill her. And then the daughters here in America and the daughters in Nigeria, Funke, they buried my mother on June 12th. Burying a Nigerian on June 12th is like burying an American on July 4th, saying the person is anti-British and the U.S. soldiers fought to get America's independence on July 4th, or burying a Black American on January 20th, Martin Luther King's Day. So June 12th is a very sad day in Nigeria. You don't bury anybody on June 12th, and that's how my mother's daughter Funke lives in Nigeria all her life, so she knew better. My mother's daughters, Bolani and Flora, they lived in America most of their life, So they all, but they always they know about what is happening in Nigeria, and that's when they chose to bury my mother on June 12th, to blame it. They killed my mother by feigning Bolani and Flora feigning mental illness on her, so her blood pressure could spike higher, and she was having a high blood pressure and in the hospital, and they was told my mother to do a controversial surgery that my mother has read about, and they said that surgery is very controversial. It's called a stent, and they said the U.S. Justice Department has been putting doctors in prison for experimenting on poor immigrant lives, because they said that surgery is not really necessary and has a lot of disadvantages. So my mother said she didn't want that surgery, and she wanted to get legal opinion from other countries like in Israel, you know, and the daughters, anything my mother says she hates, the daughters will try to force her to do, just to get her blood pressure to keep spiking high. Because my mother said her daughters were reading court papers I filed, saying when the police tried to arrest us and put us in a psych ward, because we told them we were not going to leave our house, because they were evicting us wrongfully without a court order. I said my mother started to have a heart problem because her blood pressure started spiking high. So when the daughter suffered, my mother was in the hospital. They went to the hospital and tried to reenact that scenario to cause her blood pressure to spike high so she can die. So they told the hospital to lock her up in the psych ward just to get her to die in a very malicious way. And my mother said her daughters would always call her a liar that she's a liar and they hate her. I said they were just trying to kill her. This is they always say they were mad that she took them to Nigeria and she didn't bring them back to America in time. Because the return ticket she bought, yeah, the ticket, the Nigerian Airways ticket, is a to and fro from New York to Lagos to come pick me up because I was with my father then in 1988 and to come back to America. And we all got stuck in Nigeria because the Nigerian government stole that ticket from my mother, said that ticket was issued out of sequence and they won't honor it anymore. So because of that, my mother was stranded in Nigeria and she made arrangement to have the daughters Bolanian for come back to live with a white family within a year. So because of that, they felt she tricked them and she wanted them to stay in Nigeria too long. And so by the time they came back to America, they stayed in Nigeria for a year. They said people were making fun of their accent and stuff, that they had already acquired a Nigerian accent. So because of that, they always called my mother a liar that she took them to try to dump them in Nigeria, but she never dumped them in Nigeria. She was trying to come back to America with all of us, but the Nigerian government had defrauded her by selling her a fake ticket in New York. So now I'm trying to sue the Nigerian government for the death of my mother due to all the problems. The caused her daughters were always said is, that our daughters felt she took them to Nigeria to dump them there, not knowing, and they knew better. They were just trying to kill my mother and make money off of it. She said they were into a expensive lifestyle. So one of the daughters in Florida would go to Mexico while my mother was homeless on the street. We would go to the country called Mexico on vacation, go to Disney World. I said they were just trying to live the rich and famous lifestyle, and and use my mother as a sacrifice. So this was going on.